All right, we have another good one here, ladies and gentlemen, the Lenovo Yoga 9i 2-in-1, which has been simply awesome here for 2025. I did a live unboxing and testing. I'll leave a link to the replay in the description below, but this thing has been pretty amazing. As far as a convertible, obviously you can put it into the different modes, tent mode, you've got the stand mode, and then of course you've got the tablet mode for use with the pen. Now the pen sticks magnetically to the lid, and of course this has been working out pretty well. This is a redesigned pen for 2025. It's the new Yoga pen. The pressure sensitivity is there. The overall use is pretty good so far. Taking notes, sketching out artwork has been very good. There is some bloatware, which I'm not crazy about, of McAfee to be one of them. But other than that, this has been awesome. Now, there are two display options, a 2.8K OLED, which is what we have here, and a 4K option. Now, I don't recommend the 4K, although it will look great. It'll look fantastic, obviously. But that's 60 Hertz, which is not quite as good as this variable refresh rate, up to 120 Hertz on this one. And it'll use a little bit more battery, although the battery on the 2.8K has been surprisingly good. In fact, we'll take a look at it. And that's chalked up to the fact that this is Lunar Lake and a 75 watt-hour battery, which is a little bit larger than, say, something like you get on the HP OmniBook Ultra Flip 2-in-1, which has a smaller 64 or 65 watt-hour battery. This one is definitely bigger. I think that's 64. Anyway, the battery life is really, really good. We'll get into that. Even though it does have such a high-res, high refresh rate display, this also has an excellent keyboard. Now, unfortunately, this is not a haptic touchpad, but nonetheless, it's still a very responsive touchpad. That's worked out well. Good port selection, nice 5-megapixel IR camera. What else is there to say? This thing has been pretty awesome. Now, I love this cosmic blue finish. It's an all-metal design. The build has been rock solid here, and here's where you store the pen. It sticks magnetically there. Overall, the look and build on this are first rate. Now, we're going to get into, I think this is probably one of the best, if not the best, 2-in-1 convertible on the market, although HP's OmniBook Ultra Flip 14 2-in-1 certainly is up there as well. We'll get into the differences between the two and the prices. Right now you can get that HP on sale, so there may be a compelling reason to get that. Although this one right now is a little bit expensive. It's just coming out of the gate right now. We'll get into it and more in this review. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is the Lenovo Yoga 9i 2-in-1, brand new for 2025. Coming up. Now, right off the bat, one of the things you're going to notice here is this build quality. It's thin, it's light, it's got the sound bar. And by the way, the speakers are awesome on this. We'll take a listen to the sound in a little bit. But that is a really great build. It's all metal. It's got curved edges, so it's very comfortable to hold. It's got a really, really nice look here. And this is the cosmic blue. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's very similar in a lot of ways to the atmospheric blue that is offered on the HP OmniBook Ultra Flip 14, a competitor to this one. But this display has got to be the star of the show. We'll get into that and more, but the overall build quality of this 2-in-1 convertible is great. Now, sometimes with a 2-in-1 convertible, you'll get some screen wobble. Not really the case on this one. When I was typing on this, I didn't really notice much screen wobble, if at all. So that has been very good. The overall build is excellent. So in just the unit alone in kilograms, you're looking at 1.319 or 1.318 kilograms, and that is 2 pounds, 14.5 ounces. With the power cord and the power charger, you're looking at 3 pounds, 7.5 ounces, and that is in grams. You're looking at 1,572 grams or 1.572 kilograms for a total travel weight. Now, let's put the pen in there, and that brings it up to 1.585 kilograms and a total travel weight of 3 pounds, 7.9 ounces. All right, let's check out the port selection. On the left side are two USB Type-C Thunderbolt 4 ports that support 40 gigabits per second, and they are full function, supporting data, charge, and display out. There's also a USB Type-A port, which supports 10 gigabits per second. Moving over to the right side is your power button. I'm not crazy about the placement there. And you also get another USB Type-C. This one is 20 gigabits per second. It is also full function. And you get a 3.5 millimeter microphone headphone combo jack. And that rounds out the ports. Notably missing no SD or micro SD card reader. But overall, a pretty good port selection. I like the fact that we have USB Type-C ports split up. 2 on one side, 1 on the right side. So that is pretty convenient. All right, let's take a peek internally here. As you can see, the 2 fans for cooling. We'll get into the thermal performance later in this review. You also notice the battery here. It's a 75 watt-hour battery. We'll get into the performance later in terms of longevity, and spoiler, battery life is really good. It's excellent. Now, as far as what's user upgradable, there is an M.2 2242 SSD, which of course is user upgradable. And as you can see from the reads and writes, the 1 terabyte included with my unit here, this review unit, are excellent, especially for a mid-size here, 2242 form factor. Of course, a smaller form factor would be the M.2 2230, like we see in a Surface device, and the full form factor would be an M.2 2280 that we commonly see. As with all Lunar Lake devices here, the memory is integrated into the system on a chip. So the most you can get in Lunar Lake in general is going to be 32 gigabytes. But the good news is it's the very fast 8533 megatransfers per second. So it's the fastest you can get on the market. And it worked very well. It's running in dual channel. The downside, obviously, is it's not user upgradable. Now, I think most people will be perfectly fine with 32, but there are that segment of the audience that will need beyond that, maybe 64, even 128. I just did the HP ZBook Ultra G1A. That goes up to 128 gigabytes, and that's running the AMD Strix Halo. And finally, when it comes to wireless, you're looking at a Wi-Fi 7 Bluetooth 5.4 combo card. That is soldered into the motherboard, not upgradable by the user, but the good news is the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth have had no issues, working flawlessly from the get-go. All right, let's talk about the display. And actually, there are 2 options here. There's a 14-inch 2.8K OLED, which is the one we have, and then there's a 4K option. That is one we don't have. Now, there is a key difference between the two. The 2.8K is a variable refresh rate up to 120 hertz, and the 4K is limited to 60 hertz. So if you want that smooth, very fluid experience, the 2.8K is the way to go. Now, there is another difference with the 4K and the 2.8K. The 2.8K will get better battery life. I'll show you in the numbers, and actually, spoiler, they're really, really good, especially considering this high-res, high refresh rate display. And to me, a 4K display, and again, this is my personal opinion, is overkill on a 14-inch laptop. And I think, yes, it'll look stunning, it'll look great, but the dividends here are not going to be that great. I don't think you're going to get the great reward here because you're going to lose a lot of battery life if you go to the 4K. And it is, again, also 60 hertz. So just keep that in mind. While it might look great, it might be great coverage of the color gamut, it has great color accuracy, this is just a little bit overkill in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, that being said, this 2.8K OLED with 120 hertz refresh rate is simply stunning. You get the deep blacks, the super vibrant colors, the really high contrast, it's all there. And get this, it can peak as high as 1100 nits when watching HDR. It's very good when watching SDR, so it's a very bright display. It's not overly glossy. It is glossy, but not overly glossy, so it hasn't been too much of an issue. And because it gets so bright, it really is an excellent display for indoors and even outdoor use. So I think it's excellent in terms of a convertible, and they went with this 2.8K as an option. And I think most people should go with that. That is just my opinion. Now, this is a multi-touch display. Pinch to zoom, navigating the OS with your finger has worked out very well. It's very responsive as far as that is concerned. And of course, it also has pen support. Now, we have a redesigned new Yoga pen this time around. So it is a very comfortable pen in terms of the form factor. It's got precision in it in terms of the pressure sensitivity, and it's great for taking notes, sketching out artwork. Now, this being a 2-in-1 convertible means, you guessed it, you can put it into the different modes. You got the tent mode, which is great for consuming media, and it's also great for presentations. The same could be said for the stand or presentation mode, as I'd like to call it. And then, of course, you could put it into tablet mode, great for use with the pen. Now, as far as taking notes, sketching out artwork, the pen has worked out very well. It's got 4,096 levels of pressure sensitivity, and I thought it worked very well. Now, it charges via USB-C. It charges very quickly, so you don't need to keep it charged on the plug very long, and it really was very good for taking notes and all that. Now, as far as storing the pen, there is a magnetic connection to the lid, and that is where it sticks magnetically, and it was a pretty secure connection. But I think when you're going to travel, put it in a pocket within your bag. You don't want it falling off and potentially losing it at some point. But it's pretty secure when you're using it. You're not going to lose it that way. So overall, a pretty clever solution. Now, the pen is new as opposed to the previous iterations, as this is a redesigned pen, and I think the pen has done very well so far. Now, I like the keyboard quite a bit here since it is very comfortable for typing out documents, emails, and the like. And I thought it was very good. Now, it has dark keys here with this cosmic blue finish. So seeing the white LED backlight has not been an issue. So you're going to be able to use this in a dark room or dimly lit environment. And it has a multi-stage backlight as well. Now, as far as the touchpad, unfortunately, it's not a haptic touchpad, which I'd like to see. We saw that on the HP OmniBook Ultra 14 Flip that we saw, the successor to the Spectre. And I wish this one had it also. Now, that being said, the responsiveness of the touchpad was very good. Scrolling, doing all the gestures, all work as you'd expect it to. Work very well. Now, as far as the keyboard layout is concerned, there is that dedicated row on the right side that has a fingerprint scanner, a favorites button. It also has the keys for the performance control as well as the audio control and a blue light filter. So that is there. Let me know what you think about it. Does it get in the way or do you like it? And remember, you could do Function Q to change the performance mode. So that is just a redundancy maybe. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. And finally, for those wondering, this is what the keyboard sounds like when you type on it. All right, so this is the 5 megapixel IR RGB camera here on this Yoga 9i 2-in-1 convertible Aura edition here for 2025. So this is capable of good video here. Obviously, I'm running this right now in the Windows native app for the camera, which is 1440p, which is what you see here. It also has all the studio effects, all the background blur. You can do the standard blur, the portrait blur, the auto framing, yada, yada, yada. We've seen it, the NPU, it all handles all that jazz. It also has a physical shutter switch above the camera for more security and privacy. And it also has a fingerprint scanner on the keyboard on the right side on the keyboard deck that allows you to log in as well. And this is an IR camera. That means you can log in with face recognition with Windows Hello. What do you think about the video quality? And what do you think about the audio quality? Let me know. All right, let's talk performance here. And like any other Lunar Lake laptop, we're seeing pretty good single and multi-core. It's not going to be quite as good as the Apple Silicon with the M4 or the Strix Point, say, with the AMD versions, of course. And it's not going to do quite as well as Qualcomm Snapdragon X Elite. Those are going to do better in the synthetic benchmarks like Geekbench 6 and Cinebench 2024. But that, of course, doesn't tell you the whole story. Using it in real-world, everyday use, it's going to be fine. You will not notice a difference between any of them, I promise you. Doing Microsoft Office, email, web browsing, everything worked very smoothly without any hiccups. So just keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that you will not have any compatibility issues when it comes to x86 apps. Everything will just work. Some of the issues we have with the Snapdragon X Elite from Qualcomm are not here. So just keep that in mind when looking at the different chipsets. And of course, it won't do quite as well, especially on single core and even multi-core, than the M4 Silicon from Apple. So that's just the reality. But the trade-off is worth it here. And that's because you're getting better efficiency and better battery life. And that is definitely welcome here, especially what we've been seeing in terms of excellent battery life. Now, one area where it does shine, of course, is in the graphics. The integrated graphics here are the Intel Arc 140V, and we've seen it before. It is very impressive, and it's got some excellent scores here, especially for an integrated solution. Time Spy, Firestrike, and the Wildlife Extreme all scored very well, and it did very well when it comes to gaming. You just have to play with some of the settings. You can get some playable frame rates on some of the more popular titles. And when I ran the Time Spy stress test to see if this will thermal throttle under heavy load, it got a passing score of 99.4%, meaning it detected virtually no thermal throttling under load. And the surface temperatures remain relatively cool here as well. See where you place your fingers on the keyboard there, never got overly hot. The heating vents will heat up, that's to be expected. And on the underside, there was one hot spot between the fans reaching around 47, 48 degrees Celsius. But other than that, it didn't get overly hot. But that is the only area where it got a little bit warm there. And then as far as fan noise is concerned, you definitely will notice that fan noise reaching as high as 53 decibels in the performance mode under load. But when you're doing everyday tasks, Microsoft Office, email, web browsing, watching movies, it was pretty silent, especially in the balance mode. It was not an issue at all. Now, this is a 75 watt-hour battery, a nice size battery for this convertible. And get this, on the PC Mark X Modern Office test, it got 21 hours and 32 minutes, which is pretty phenomenal considering the fact that it has a 2.8K OLED display running at 120 hertz. That's impressive because those tend to draw a lot more power. But check this out. The PC Mark X video playback got over 20 hours. So this thing is really great when it comes to battery life. And I think that's a reflection of Lunar Lake in general. We've been seeing some excellent results here when it comes to longevity. Now, they do supply you with a 65 watt power adapter. It's pretty compact, easy to take with you on the go, and charges very rapidly. And this is how it stacks up to the other 2-in-1 convertibles in the category, as you can see, outlasting the Samsung Galaxy Book 5 Pro 360, which is as a 16-inch display, by the way, with a 76 watt-hour battery, and certainly better than the HP OmniBook Ultra Flip 14, which has a smaller 64 watt-hour battery. Now, when it comes to the audio, we're looking at 4 speakers in total here, 2 2-watt tweeters and 2 2-watt woofers, so for some pretty nice sound. Remember, it has that sound bar in the middle there. So overall, very good sound, but of course, you let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, let's give it a listen. All right, let's talk price, and this comes in at $1,750 over at Best Buy. I'll leave a link in the description below, and of course, that's not cheap, but we do anticipate this going on sale at some point down the road, so always check the link for the latest pricing. But what about some of the competition, other 2-in-1 convertibles? Well, how about the HP OmniBook Ultra Flip 2-in-1, a convertible that I really love here for 2025, and in fact, that one's on sale right now over at HP's website for $1,500. That's $200 off, or $250 off, I should say, the asking price. So that has been an excellent one. Comes in atmospheric blue, very similar to the cosmic blue we have on the Yoga. And check out the Samsung Galaxy Book 5 Pro 360 that we looked at earlier this year. That one comes in at $1,699, and that's, what, $1,700. There are some flaws here. No haptic touchpad. The display is a little too wobbly for my liking, and the keyboard is very shallow. But other than that, it's a good laptop. I reviewed that one. I'll leave the link to my review in the description below. That one comes in at $1,700. But of course, all these laptops are kind of on the high price right now. That's just the times we're living in. Chalk that up to inflation, tariffs, whatever you want to call it. That's just the reality we are living in right now. All right, let's wrap it all up. And what do I think about the Yoga 9i 2-in-1 here for 2025? It is simply awesome. It's got an excellent 2.8K OLED display with a variable refresh rate up to 120 hertz. It's got 1100 nits of peak brightness, which is simply amazing. I love the fact that it can get that bright. It's got a great keyboard, touchpad. You get all-day battery life and then some. And that's pretty, not surprising, but pretty awesome considering the fact that it does have a high-end 2.8K OLED display at 120 hertz. hertz, which draws more power. So very impressive indeed. Now, the negatives are going to be the fact that there's no SD card reader, there's no haptic touchpad like you get on the HP OmniBook Flip that we really like as well. The 4K option, which is an option here, of course, is only 60 hertz, and the fans are noticeable under load, which is not too surprising with such a thin and light chassis, and it is expensive right now, although I do anticipate this going on sale at some point down the road. But overall, I think Lenovo did a fantastic job here, and if you have to choose between the 2.8K OLED display and the 4K OLED, my recommendation would be to go with the 2.8K OLED. I don't think you'll see enough payoff on that 4K to justify the price difference or the fact that you're losing some battery life going with that 4K display. But either way, this is an excellent choice here for 2025, and I highly recommend it. So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. If you're a casual viewer of my content, why not hit the subscribe button? It doesn't cost anything, and it certainly helps support the channel. And if you're gonna buy something like this, why not use the links in the description below? Yes, they are affiliate links. I do get a small commission, not much, but it does help support the channel. So I do appreciate it if you do choose to go through my links. That being said, until next time, this is Andrew, and I'll see you in the next video.